So welcome to FITnatics today. Topic today is podcasts. And some of y'all may be into it, may not be into it, or just want to investigate, see what's out there. There's a lot of good stuff out there. And of course, I mainly hone in on the health and fitness aspect. Although there's a lot of good info out there, way different types of interests and topics that go beyond health and fitness for sure. So, any who would like to go first to begin sharing their favorite or even just one of the health and fitness podcasts that they subscribe to or listen to frequently? Who wants to go first? All right, Cindy.
You said frequently. No, not frequently. In fact, not since I stopped going to the gym, because I used to listen to podcasts on the elliptical or the treadmill or something. So I probably haven't listened to a podcast since then. But I like TED Talks and I like Tony Robbins for visualization. And it really works. One time Susie was showing me an exercise and she saw my muscle contract, but I wasn't touching any equipment. I said, oh, I was doing visualization. My muscle contracted when I pictured it. So it really works. And then when I was trying to get off sugar about a year and a half ago, I found Annie Grace, and she actually teaches you how to get off alcohol. And I don't drink, but it's the same thing.
Cindy, I think you
getting off alcohol, getting off sugar, getting off crack cookies, and it's all hard. So she has great strategies to give up stuff. That's Annie Grace. And then on YouTube, I had something, how to quit sugar. And I pulled out my little notebook where I used to take notes after I got home from the gym. So you have inspired me to go back and look at some.
Oh, good. Yeah. Tell us again, Cindy, the Annie Grace.
Yeah, Annie, and her last name is Grace, Grace, and it's on sobriety. And so whenever they talked about alcohol, I substituted the word sugar.
Got it.
And it worked. And how to cope, like you go to a party and people are drinking. Well, you go to a party, there's always brownies, which I want. So how to avoid, when you get, not that we go to parties anymore, but anyway, that was why it was helpful to me.
Now, how did you find that particular podcast? Or was it a podcast?
That was a podcast, and she had many. There's like 50 or 80 of them. There's so many, and so you can read the heading and see if it's interesting. And then she's the one that she turns you on to other people, like Tony Robbins for visualization. So I like somebody big like that that'll then feed you into other avenues that may be interesting.
Great. Yes, I agree with that. I do like individuals that share, other professionals, and because everybody's different. One person you might click better with one versus the other. Now, how long is, and we'll stick with the Annie Grace one, because I remember you sharing that one with me at one time, and it was really beneficial. How long are the podcasts? Because all of them are different.
I think they were about 30 minutes.
Oh, good.
And one of my sisters walks every day, and she listens. I ought to ask her what she listens to, and it's podcasts for self-improvement of some type.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so I'll learn.
Good. Now, out of curiosity, do you subscribe to them? Because there's a difference. When you subscribe, you get a notification every time a new podcast drops or is released. So I was just curious.
I never got into that. I don't even know what that, I don't know. I'll have to get more involved.
Okay, good. Thanks, Cindy. All right, how about you, June? What do you got first? Any podcasts that you listen to frequently?
I don't really do podcasts. I go on YouTube and listen to things, positive notes, and one place I go is Brightside. That it's just a place that they either talk about your health. Today they were talking about 10 foods that are, well, really it was foods and drinks that you should avoid and to lose weight. And then there was another one that was talking about walking, the benefits of walking. And then I kind of got on the bright side because they do mental things. They get you to think, think about, like riddles and stuff like that. And so that's kind of how I got into that. And, you get into one and, you know, after a while, they're sending you all kinds through YouTube anyway. And as far as health, I listened to Dr. Becky Gillespie. She talks about fitness, more healthy eating, gives healthy eating tips. And you spell her name, Becky is Becky, and then Gillespie is Gillespy. And she's a doctor. And I think her husband is too. But anyway, she's very interesting. So,
Now, the Bright Side is on YouTube?
yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And how long are the shows or episodes?
It just depends. Sometimes I just want to watch something for 10 minutes and, you know, and it'll pop up. I can find something there, or 15 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen anything over 20 minutes though. So
Okay. That's important. And I know I'm going to ask about that because I've noticed, you know, everybody's different, and one that's 30 minutes might be more appealing. I've seen some that are 11 minutes, you know, they stick to that. Some go over 2 hours. It just depends. So that's why I'm asking that, just to give individuals an idea of what to expect. Okay. Now, the Becky Gillespie, she's also on YouTube?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I think her husband does a video with her also. And, you know, she talks about, you know, all these different healthy eating habits and tips, and, you know,
Becky
how much probably need to listen to.
No, I understand. That's great, because all of these resources, like I said, we come together, we share them, and we may find one that hits for us and that really resonates, and that's going to be all worth it, you know, so that's fantastic. And just to kind of give you a little bit on, and then I think Diane sent me a text right now about the podcast. Health and Fitness Podcast is the topic today. And the podcast is good in the sense of this, different from YouTube or something that you see on your computer, is that the podcast is basically just audio. It's all audio. You know, you can download it. You can walk, you can be in your car driving, and it's something that you can listen to. You don't have to visually see. So depending on what type of a learner you are, and that's important to take into note here. If you're audio, that, you know, so that information coming in and you enjoy that, you might want to, you know, do a little investigation on the podcast. And like I said, there are great podcasts out there with good, valuable information, fun information, etc., entertainment, etc. All right, Charlene, what do you go for it? Go for it, June.
I hate to sound ignorant, but I don't know how to get to podcasts. How do you even, that's one of the things I wanted to learn.
Perfect. Okay, so there's a couple of different ways. If on your phone, okay, what you're going to do, and it depends on if you have an Apple phone or an Android phone, okay? And in their different application stores, because it's an app. So you go to the application store, and in the iPhone, what I have, I go to the App Store and you hit podcasts. You'll download that application for podcasts. It's a general podcast. And when you do that, you open that app for podcasts, and then it's going to come up with all different examples, you know, all the podcasts that are out there. So you can put in a topic, you can put in a name, whatever you want, and then hit that, and then that podcast will come up. And what happens, and say it's a Q Movements podcast. Well, we have Q Movements, and then we have all the different episodes. One was on podcast, one was on relaxation. Well, you know, so you get to pick, and it tells you a brief description, like Cindy said, of that podcast. It'll let you know how long it is, any guests that were on that podcast. So you just click on that, and it's going to be an audio. You're not going to see anything. You might just see the little line going across or something, or you may see a picture of the person who's doing the podcast, but you're going to hear it. Okay. So that should be the same process for an Android. You go to the application store, download, and it should be a free download.
Oh, okay.
I'm glad you brought that up. Most podcasts, I'm going to say 99% are free. All right. So if you've come across one that there's a cost for it, I don't know about that. I mean, that's your choice, but there's some really good ones out there, great ones, and most of them are free. So either through the Android or through the iPhone. That's how you do it. Okay. Now,
Sure.
on terms of the iPad, I'm sure you can do the same thing there. You go to the application store, download the app for podcasts, and then you search there for whatever you're looking for.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
No problem. No problem. Good question, June. I had it written down because I thought maybe, some of you guys are not sure how to do that or access them. So good question. Good question. Charlene, what you got over there? Anything for us today? Unmute. Almost. Let's see. Do I need to unmute you? Let me see. Maybe I do need to unmute you. Ask to unmute, and there you go.
Hey,
Bingo.
I don't do podcasts at all. So I really wanted to learn. I just do music. I don't, but I've been very intrigued lately because my daughter does it a lot and I hear people talking about them. So I was just doing it as you were telling us how to do it. I just downloaded the app. So
perfect. You know what, Charlene? I'm super surprised. I thought for sure that podcast would be right up your alley because you're very active and I can just see you just listening to things as you're doing things.
I could see I could get into that pretty easy.
Okay, good. Very good. So you have an iPhone?
Yes.
And did you download that app right now?
Yes.
Perfect. And like I said,
So I pulled up the Annie Grace that the other lady talked about, and it says subscribe. So do you have to pay to subscribe?
You shouldn't have to. No.
Okay.
What the subscription does, and most podcasts offer that option. What the subscription does is this: it gives you a notification when a new, fresh podcast is out for that particular individual.
Okay.
Because some podcasts come out weekly, daily, bi-weekly. So it lets you know that, oh, there's a new one that just dropped. The other reason, just so everyone knows, when it comes to the subscriptions, the podcasters like you to subscribe. And the reason why is because that's how they get paid.
Yeah.
That's how they get some income off of that. So, they benefit, but also if you really enjoy that particular podcast, you want to know when the next one comes out. So you just get a little notification, and that's what that does. It lets you know, and you can go in through all of the others, the past podcasts from that individual you can access as well. So I subscribe to a few and I like it because I'm like, oh, okay, now look at the topic and be like, all right, I don't have to rush to listen to it. I can get to another time. So, just depends.
Thank you.
Sure. Diane, talk to us. Do you do any podcasting? Unmute yourself, Diane. We're not going to go through this with you just nodding. Okay. Why? Look, the same thing that happened last time. I'm not able to hear you. You're unmuted, but I'm not able to hear you. Okay. Okay. Try raising your volume. I know it sounds very simple and you never know. It could just be that. No go. Okay. All right. Helen, how are you today?
I'm doing good. And like a couple of the others, I'm not very technically savvy. I don't stream music. I don't do any of that. So I didn't know how to do podcasts either. So my phone's charging up. I'll upload the app later.
Okay, very good. Thank you for joining today. Now, and that was kind of my thought, to be honest with everyone. I wasn't sure if it was going to be a hot topic because podcasts are fairly new, but they've actually been around for a long time. What's happening now with the podcast is that in terms of it being new, we're getting a lot more podcasters, really great content in all areas of health, fitness, wellness, and etc. So Like I said, if you're an audio learner, if you like to keep moving and not sit down, be glued to, you know, a screen, this is a great way to go. It's really, really good. If you do a lot of driving for whatever, or you're on a road trip or something, it's really, really kind of cool. It's for me, it's a little bit better than listening to music, because sometimes, even though I love music, because I'm getting information that I'm interested in, and I love to learn. So I'm like, you know, by the time I know it, I'm where I need to be. And so that's why I really liked at least putting the podcast out there, letting you guys kind of play with it, figure it out, see if it's something you like, and who knows, maybe it might be really good. Now, for me, my podcast that I listen to, and I have my notes here, is Rich Roll, Rich, last name Roll, Roll. And he was the first podcaster I got introduced to. I'm going to say probably about 3 years ago. And I don't listen all the time, but I do listen every now and then, depending on the topic and the individual he's going to interview. And the first person that that got me intrigued was when he interviewed Chef AJ. And we've talked about Chef AJ before. She is a chef who had major issues with addictions, major issues and food addictions, as well as others, and very, very overweight. She was a chef, and she tried all different methods, and finally found one that worked for her, and that was working with the starch solution. Not McGregor. Cindy, tell me. Starch solution. I can't believe it. That's the one I follow. I do the starch solution. Oh, well, I'm going to have to let that one go. But, and so she talked about her story. And with Rich Roll, what I enjoyed about his particular podcast, and they can go kind of long. They go from anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, depending on the topic and the individual he's interviewing. But I wanted to hear her story. And what I liked about Rich Roll is it didn't seem like an interview per se. It felt like a conversation. Like they were just talking to one another. They're friends. And I enjoyed that. I didn't feel like it was too formal. I felt it was very relaxed, but yet very informative. And Rich Roll, the reason why I started listening to him is he's in his mid 50s, and a graduate from Stanford, was a total workaholic, and made a change in his lifestyle, and turned to vegan. And I'm not saying I'm telling you guys to turn vegan, but he changed the way he ate. And he said, McDougall, thank you. Dr. McDougall is the individual we're talking about. And he made a decision to change his lifestyle, and he got into doing ultra marathons, he biking, running, and now he's in the best shape of his life at 54. He's 54. And that to me was very inspiring, because I felt like, okay, there's hope for all of us who wants to make a change in their lifestyle. I'm not saying go out and run marathons, but I really do believe, you know, it's never too late to change things in our lives, the way we eat, the way we move, and the way we take in information as well. So I thought that was very inspiring to me. That gave me hope that, okay, I can make some changes in my lifestyle, and I can be better even though I'm older. Okay, that's the thing. We're all getting older. So finding ways to help our body, our health, overall wellness. And that was very inspiring for me, for Rich Roll. Hold on one second. Let me bring Nancy in real quick. That was very inspiring for me. So since then, go for it, Charlene.
No, you finish.
Okay. Since then, I have listened to him, and he interviews, and I know this is just health and fitness, but he interviews people that I don't even know who they are. They're major competitive athletes in different areas that, I mean, I know basketball, football, the major sports, but he interviews these really, really competitive athletes that are super, super good at what they do, basically. And I like hearing about what they do to train, how they eat, the commitment, and the discipline. And everybody's different, and they came from different backgrounds. And so I like how Rich Roll does his process of having an interview, but yet having a conversation with these individuals. He's also interviewed Russell Simmons, who's very big on meditation. And I just feel that Rich Roll provides an environment where people feel relaxed to be themselves and not feel like, they've got to be a robot and say the right thing. And, I like that they can be open and very, the word naked comes to my mind, but of course I don't mean that, but just very vulnerable, very vulnerable. So, and for me, I feel that's more endearing and more beneficial. Yes, Charlene, go for it.
So I just realized that he has a podcast, but I've followed him in other ways, and I have some of his books, and it's an awesome one. It's what got me started on celery juice, is Medical Medium.
Medical Medium.
Yeah, you types of things, and he is awesome. The things that he does that helps people just change their life by doing, like, it's not just celery. He has other fruits and vegetables and ways of eating that and he's got awesome recipes on really healthy, like oatmeal cookies that are all, you don't have to even hardly put 3 or 4 things in it, and you've got an oatmeal cookie. And so that's a really good one too. Now that I see he's got a podcast, I'll listen to it.
Come on, Charlene, get on board. Good. I'm glad you found it out.
I'm not going to do anything else.
Well, no, you can listen while you're moving and cooking,
Exactly.
gardening.
Exactly.
Good. Okay, so like I said, that was the main one that I can stand behind. I've listened to. I would definitely suggest or recommend. If that's going to be something that you want to experiment with, I'd suggest Rich Roll, give him a try. I have some other options down in terms of health and fitness. And this is what I did to find those options. I listened to some of them. I didn't listen to a lot of them, but these are some of the top health and fitness podcasts that are out there right now. One is Ben Greenfield. Okay. He is a personal trainer. And what he does is, his podcast is about an hour and a half long, and he talks a lot about the science behind the exercise and nutrition. So I thought that was really good. I don't think Rich Roll gets too deep into the science, not on the podcast at least, but for this particular individual does. And if you're interested in that, that might be one to explore. The next one is Found My Fitness, and it's by Dr. Rhonda Patrick. And she's a teacher. She's a scientist. So, and hers are 30 minutes long. Okay. Found My Fitness. And she gets a little bit more technical when it comes to health and nutrition and the biomechanics behind it. Gets a lot more technical. And another one that kind of not my style, but might be for you guys, is called Mind Pump. And it's 3 used to be personal trainers, and they're talking about the latest fads in dieting and health and wellness. They talk about equipment. They talk about, each podcast is about 50 minutes long, almost an hour. And they kind of make things kind of funny, a little bit more entertainment, which is fine, but it wasn't my favorite listening, although it was a very popular podcast when I did the research on it. So that's another one to consider. So one was the Ben Greenfield, the other was Mind Pump, and Found My Fitness. And of course, like I said, there's tons of them out there. If you want to find one just on, say, stretching, I'm sure you can find one. Or one just on cardio, I'm sure you can find one. The science behind it, the best cardio exercises, I'm sure you can find it. But those are just kind of general overall health and fitness podcasts that were very, very popular, have a lot of subscribers, and have been around and have some good feedback. Nancy, what's going on over there? Talk to us.
We just, normally Lady requires that she be walked promptly at noon. So
we just got back from, that's why my glasses are so dark. We just got back. Turned out to be a very nice day, and it's still warming up a little bit more. It's not that biting 30 degrees it was earlier today.
Good.
The only time I listen to podcasts are when I'm driving in the car, and I listen for entertainment. So I don't really
Tell
have.
us. Well, you have a good one that you've told me about a while back, and I know it's not a health and fitness one, but it's the one about the storytelling.
Yeah, This American Life.
This American Life.
And it has a million different topics. I'm sure there have been some on fitness. It's been on for years and years and years and years. So you can listen to any of them from years ago. When you listen to the old ones, it's kind of funny because it says send $7.50 for a cassette tape of today's recording, something like that. How far we've come since then. And I haven't, because I'm not driving in the car, very much. I have listened to it a little bit. I don't remember where I was going, somewhere last week. But their app supposedly has changed, or they're not supporting their app. I don't know, but you can listen to it in podcasts. There's apps that like house all the podcasts, or it had its own. And so it's probably just going with those podcasts. Anyway, This American Life. I've tried other ones, the things I like to do, like there's some on sewing. Like you said, you can find them on anything. So anyway,
Nancy,
I prefer reading, because
I know you like to read.
I concentrate, and when I'm listening, I really can't do anything but listen, and most of the time my eyes are busy and I'm not paying attention. So
good point. And we mentioned that earlier, Nancy, in terms of what type of a learner you are. If it's the audio, it's the visual, that'll have an impact on whether podcasts are for you or not. Can you tell us a little bit about what that This American Life is about? It's
about all kinds of things, about things that happen in America. Hang on, and I'll pull up a couple of topics that they had recently.
Okay.
So they have had they had the Show of Delights. In these dark times, we attempt some radical counter programming, a show made up entirely of stories about delight. So see, that would lift your spirit. Lights, Camera, Christmas, stories of people going to great lengths to throw a special Christmas with their families. That one had an amazing story. That was the one I listened to, part of it. A family for years and years took their kid, had members of their family dress up like Santa Claus, and they'd take the kids for a walk, and they wouldn't tell the kids, and they'd see this guy and they'd say, "Can we help you?" He kind of looked like a homeless guy, and he'd go, "Well, my name's Santa Claus, and I'm trying." What problem was that one of the three kids really had a very hard time when his parents told him that was not true. And even into way into adulthood, like 30s or 40s, he still was really angry. And he, because he said it was the whole magic of Christmas that they would always get to see some version of Santa Claus. So anyway, but they're not all funny like that. Although right now, like one is Personal Recount. There's stories of people changing their minds, which sounds kind of, you don't know what it is, but I haven't listened to it, but I'm telling you, it's got every kind of thing you could imagine. And I told you I've learned things like they had one about China and the dissidents in China, which were personal accounts of people that I didn't really understand what was going on with the problems over there. And a lot of times that's what they are. There's some current issue, but that you get to see a whole different side. There was one on public schools and public school choice, that an inner city school, that being a public educator was really interesting to me, but it was a totally different perspective from parents and why they were trying to get their school to be special and have special things anyway. So that's kind of what it is. So
true stories, Nancy, are all true?
Oh yeah, they're not all true. Sometimes if they're having a funny one about Christmas or something, or any kind of thing, they'll do like a little radio play, and they'll have somebody write a radio play. It's been on for so long that, in fact, it's the very first, I don't know if it was podcast. Last year it won the first Pulitzer Prize for its type of thing. The very first time they ever awarded a Pulitzer Prize to a podcast or audio. I don't know how they exactly, because there's other audio things like that, but they got the first Pulitzer Prize ever. So
Oh, thanks for sharing that, Nancy. That's pretty good. That's very cool. Thank you. Elsa, can you hear me? Can you hear me? You there? Let's see if you're going to unmute. I know you're out and about. You were like Cindy last week, out and about, moving and shaking. Oh, you're still muted. You're still muted. Let me see if I can unmute you. Let's see if I have the ability to ask you to unmute. Maybe not. Maybe not. Oh, there we go. How's it going, Elsa?
Hey, Susie, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Sorry,
Welcome.
I'm trying to get some sun. I need to get more sun. I just, my doctor said, the only thing you're low in is vitamin D. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Get
Yeah,
out in that sun. Get out in that sun for sure.
definitely. I took some Christmas lights down this morning and it was nice and chilly, but it was good to be out in the sun. And then I had to run to my daughter's. So I'm trying to take advantage of the sun right now.
Oh, good. Good, Elsa. Thank you for joining us today. Do you have any
Sure.
podcasts that you listen to regularly?
I listen mostly to podcasts to do with entrepreneurship and small business because, you know, I'm trying to grow my business. So I listen to people, but I think listening to their stories is really very enticing and motivating and inspirational because someone always has a story of how they got started, why they got started. And also, it's not all business, it's about their life, you know, what drove them to. And another podcast I'm recently listening to, and these are entrepreneurs, is a couple that works with families that are, someone's a business owner, like the husband or wife, and the other one might not be, or they both are, and how they work with their relationship, their marriage, how that could be a challenge.
Oh, okay. What's the
So,
name of one of the podcast business or
sure.
entrepreneurship that you listen to?
I want to say, you know how they rename them. I mean, they name them something specific. This is Rankin is the last name of the family. It's Jojo and Corey Rankin. And they have a podcast about that particular, and I don't know if it's called marriage, but it's about business and marriage and relationships. So if
Okay.
you want to look them up, I'm sure they'll have a link to their podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. And also, you don't listen to any podcasts with having to do with orthopedic, any of that?
I used to, but I felt like my drive was so much about learning about business that that's integrated almost because you have to, you know, my back skills, my sets of skills. I used to, but I haven't recently. There's so much out there. There's so much, but I love podcasts. So
Very cool. Very
yeah.
cool. Thank you, Elsa. Thanks for joining us. Perfect.
You're
Perfect.
welcome.
Any questions? Any other? Go for it, Nancy.
I just want to say, this is not about podcasts, but as far as vitamin D, I have too much vitamin D. But one of the things, you know, there's a lot of things they say about coronavirus and how to prevent it and everything. But I have a choir here, and I was on a Zoom with, I think, 6 or 7 people yesterday. And out of those 6 or 7, 2 of them are currently fighting COVID. So that's quite a bring it home to you. But one of them had told us about the treatment that their doctor told them, and that was to take a lot of vitamin D. And I've read that at least 1 or 2 other places that's people, they're discovering that that because it's such a new disease, they don't have enough information. But one thing they're starting to discover is that people who are more suffering with coronavirus have a lack of vitamin D. So be sure you're getting all your vitamin D.
Oh, good, Nancy. Thanks for that. Thanks for that, for sure. So are you supplementing with more vitamin? Oh, you have too much vitamin D, Nancy.
Yeah, it kind of worries me because I don't know how much more I have. I don't remember when I go see my doctor or my endocrinologist, but some things have vitamin D that you just get it. And plus I get a lot of sun, but I'm not taking any, I've had to change all my supplements. Like most calcium has D, so I have to order a special calcium. All multivitamins have D, so I'm taking some other things rather than a multivitamin. But I still take like my orange juice is fortified with D. There's still D you get, you know, sometimes. So anyway.
And you do walk every day. She walks outside, so I know that probably has something to do with it. Because
Now when I'm walking outside this morning in the 30 degrees, there's like this little much of me that's getting sun because the rest of me is. But just now we walked and I had, you know, could had more exposure. But then you got to watch out for, you know, you got to watch out for the sun. So you got to be sure you got your SPF on. So I mean, you know, you get it no matter which direction you go. So.
Oh my gosh, Nancy. Yes, thank you. Any other comments, questions, feedback, thoughts anyone would like to share? Podcast. Okay, very good. Like I said, I thought it'd be maybe not the most popular topic, but I'm glad that you guys joined in, got some good information, see if it works for you, if you enjoyed it. It doesn't have to be health and fitness. It can be on any topic. Because right now, especially since we are staying in, we're not going out as much, we want to find ways to learn, for one, because I love to learn, entertain ourselves too. You know, like Nancy has shared some, you know, true stories, some for entertainment. So it's all out there. So I definitely encourage you guys to check it out. If you have any problems finding the podcast or accessing them, send me an email, send me a text, let me know. I can kind of walk you through it. Last
all right,
thing,
I have to say
yes.
Stump is over here and he wanted me to mention meditation, although I don't listen to a podcast of meditation. I don't think it's because it's not long enough, but there are meditation podcasts, and there are also like my Alexa has several podcasts, you can ask for Stop, Breathe, and Think. She's trying to do it right now. Stop, Breathe, and Think is one of them that'll do a meditation. Can't think of the other one. Headspace, I think, is a big, well-known one, and it's a longer one. It's several minutes long that will that you can listen to. And of course, when you're doing a meditation, you're supposed to only be listening to it. So that's
right. Right. Nancy, you're getting into another topic. Tell Stump is her husband. Tell Stump that's a whole nother topic for FITnatics.
Well, I said it's not really a podcast, but anyway, they have podcasts about meditation.
That's true. That they do. Very good point. Okay, guys, now time for our giveaway. Of course, we're going to do Norwex. Like I'm telling you guys, I love these Norwex products. This one is the mitt. Okay, so I have two in my house because what I do is I go around and I just wipe everything with both hands and it picks up everything. You can typically what you do before you start using it is you just kind of rub it to kind of get the electric lights going, and then you start rubbing. It picks up everything. You wash them, you know, after a couple of times of use and reuse it. It's fantastic. It's really good for getting into like the blinds where that can be kind of tough. So great. It's the mix. The way we do this, Helen, is everyone picks a number from 1 to 100. Let me get my pen because I can't trust myself on this. And I have the lucky number right here, which I know you guys can't see. So let's start with Charlene, our winner from last week. What number you got, Charlene?
42.
42. Okay, Diane, what do you got? 87? Yeah, I read your lips. 87. Good. Nancy, what you got?
68.
68. Helen, what about you? What was that?
57.
57. Okay. June, what do you got, June? 25? I'm getting good at reading lips. Cindy, what do you got, Cindy?
13.
13. And Elsa, what's your number? 1 to 100?
23. 23.
Okay.
2, 3.
Got it. Dun, 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 dun. Here's our number. If you can see it, 99. So that means Diane.
Wow.
Be wiping up everything in no time.
Actually have one.
All right, guys. One last thing. I have the topic for next week, but nonetheless, I still want you guys to send me topic ideas. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I'm going to do this real quick. I still want you guys to send me ideas for topics because I'm never locked into everything and I'm keeping an open mind. Next week, our topic is going to be mental health. Okay. It can be resources. It can be experiences. It can be, you know, sharing just all kinds of things. I want you guys to come with an open mind. And if you don't have anything to share, you can just log in and listen. Okay. So mental health is going to be our next topic for Wednesday. Thank you guys. Y'all have a good day. Enjoy and get your vitamin D. Bye, guys.